That touchdown was a long time coming. You think it could be the impetus to change your season a little bit?
For sure. It has been a long time coming. Hopefully we just keep the momentum going. Yeah.
The ball kind of hung up there. I mean, it ended up in your hands, but did you just block out the corner on the side of it, or what?
My bad.
On the touchdown, the ball kind of was up in the air a long while, but it ended up where it was supposed to go.
Yeah, I thought it was a good pass by Dylan. Gave me an opportunity, give me a chance to make a play on it. And I came down with it.
So getting those touches early, you were targeted 10 times in the first half. Do you feel like that really does help you get going and get warmed up and get into the flow of the game?
Yeah, definitely. It definitely helped me get going. Being involved in the game, just that's all you can ask for as a receiver, that momentum, being involved, getting your hands dirty, stuff like that.
What do you think changed that made you more targets on last week compared to other games?
I think, Tom just put me in a great position to be able to, make those plays. Yeah, I think that's what it is. I was just in the right position.
Your targets was one noticeable difference in the game that Reese called. Were there other differences to you in him calling plays?
Say that again?
Your number of targets was one big difference with Reese taking over play calling.
Mm-hmm.
Were there any other differences that you noticed?
No, I think Tom did a good job of trying to get me the ball and get me involved in the game plan. And I think Dylan did a good job in going through his reads and making the right plays and throwing to me when I was open. So yeah.
It seems like all you guys are really behind Dylan. The fact that Kevin's sticking with him. Most of the guys that we talk to seem like they can see the growth in Dylan, even though it might not necessarily be showing up in completion percentage and other things. But is that an accurate perception? It really just seems like you guys are behind him, and if so, why?
Yeah, for sure. Dylan's a young quarterback. He's on his first year in his fourth, fifth game. In the league. There's a lot that he still got to learn. But he comes out here each and every week ready to improve, ready to get better. So that's all you can ask for as quarterback. As teammates, we got to lean. You got to have somebody to lean on, and we here for him for sure.
Jerry, just with you getting more targets and getting them earlier, is it reassuring, I guess, because I know Kevin and Dylan have been talking about making sure you're getting the ball, making sure you're more involved. So then for it to actually happen, is that just reassuring, I guess, that the plan?
Yeah, for sure.
Jerry, what did you see on that 4th and 1 where you lined up in the backfield, and why did the play eventually not work?
You said when I lined up in the backfield?
Yeah.
Why it didn't work? I'm not sure why it didn't work, but I think they brought pressure, so didn't really have that much time.
Did you expect to get the ball in that play?
Yeah, I expected to get the ball, but yeah.
With that being said, it's only his first game with Dylan, and his first game back from the 4 weeks out with the hamstring. Do you feel like that's one area where you guys can really pick it up a notch and improve by getting the ball to both of you guys?
Oh yeah, for sure. The more players we can get involved in the offense, it's going to be harder for the defense to really focus on one guy. So that's very important.
What are you seeing from the Ravens defense right now, especially they've changed how they use Kyle Hamilton a little bit. How has that been changed things?
Yeah, they just moved him from safety more into the box. That's probably the biggest difference, and added number 12 back there. But other than that, not really too much change.
Your touchdown obviously was explosive. There was the one early in the game where Dylan tried to throw it up the set. He didn't catch it, but drew a penalty. Just seemed like Tommy sort of emphasized trying to take some more of those shots. Just how beneficial can that be to you guys as an offense to take some of those and get some of those wins?
You want to be able to be an explosive offense and take advantage of those shots when we have those opportunities. You don't want to be a team that just run a lot of short stuff. So teams won't just sit on every route. So being able to take advantage of those opportunities really helps the offense a lot.
Do you feel like since that was Tommy's first game calling the game for you guys, that week 2 should be exponentially better, just because now he kind of has one under his belt, he knows a little bit more about how Dylan's going to respond in certain situations and new guys.
For sure, now that he definitely got a feel, calling his first game this season, I'm pretty sure he's going to do a great job next week and calling play also.
I think you mentioned on Sunday that on that touchdown, Tommy had seen something, like maybe how they were covering crossers or something, that set that up.
Yeah.
At what point did you know that play was going to work?
If you look at the beginning of the game, I caught a crosser earlier in the game, and the DB was trailing. So, Tommy did a great job of recognizing that during the game, seeing that he was trying to undercut me and play the crosser. So he called it at a great time.
When we see passes that look like they're just off the mark, is that, I'm specifically talking about Dylan last week, when we see some of those, is it necessarily the quarterback, or can it be just communication between the quarterback and the pass catcher?
Yeah, it could be both, Sometimes the quarterback expect you to be in one spot, you in another, Sometimes it just happens like that. Sometimes, yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.